President Trump welcoming Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman back to the White House tonight. A dinner in his honor will begin shortly. Trump giving the royal treatment to the Crown Prince throughout the day. Mounted horses escorting the Crown Prince to White House grounds. F-35 fighter jets, the same jets Trump says he is selling to Saudi Arabia, flew overhead. Trump even showing MBS his many White House renovations, the Presidential Walk of Fame, the one he was showing. And during a meeting in the Oval Office, Trump dismissed any concern over why he is extending such a welcome of MBS to Washington. This is MBS's first visit, important to say, since the brutal murder of Jamal Khashoggi, right, who was chopped up with a bone saw. A Saudi journalist and American legal resident. He was dismembered in 2018. Dismembered, chopped up with a bone saw in a Saudi consulate in Turkey. A murder that the CIA assessed that the Crown Prince likely approved in advance. Trump denying any wrongdoing on MBS's behalf, though, saying today that, quote, things happen.
You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it.
Again, the CIA assessed that MBS not only knew about Khashoggi's murder, but likely approved it in advance. And being a controversial figure, of course, does not lead you to things happen, being chopped up by a bone saw, just to say the obvious. But Trump escalated the flattery by praising the Crown Prince's human rights record. Now, put aside the bone saw. The human rights record in Saudi Arabia, well, they execute more people per year than almost any country on earth except for Iran and China. And the State Department has highlighted credible reports of torture, repression, and unlawful killings inside Saudi Arabia.
I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else.
I mean, to actually bring up human rights in that context, why would Trump offer such demonstrably false praise for Saudi Arabia's future ruler? Plenty of things you could say about him, but he had to go there. Why? Perhaps it's about money. Out front now, Dan Alexander, a senior editor at Forbes, who's done extensive reporting on Trump's financial ties to Saudi Arabia. Dan, Trump says his family has done very little business with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and you say that's false.
Yeah, it's not true at all. I mean, look, Saudi Arabia has its tentacles in various parts of the Trump organization right now. So first of all, if you look at the real estate licensing empire that he's built overseas, the main growth engine behind that right now is a Saudi firm. And they've now done or announced 7 deals, principally around the Middle East with the Trump organization. And then it also extends into his golf business. So his golf business, has collected roughly $6 million from Live Golf, which is backed by the Saudi government. Now, that's not a massive amount of money for Trump, but what it also did is it brought back relevance to Trump's golf properties, which had lost the PGA Tour, lost the Royal & Ancient, which oversees the British Open, after January 6th. Live Golf and the Saudis behind it helped bring professional golf back to Trump's properties, adding that prestige that he's always looked for.
So then, when you lay this out, I mean, that's pretty stunning, right? When he says his family's done little business with Saudi Arabia. So that, as you point out, is false. Trump then claims that, well, he doesn't have anything to do with his family business. And I know you and I have talked about this over many years. It wasn't true in the last administration. Is it true now?
No, it's total nonsense. I mean, look, if you own the business, you got something to do with the family business. I mean, a lot of people who are in their late 70s who discover other passions in life, decide that they want to delegate the day-to-day responsibilities to their kids. That's what Donald Trump has done. But he discloses in federal filings the structure of his business empire. And we can see in those that he still owns these assets. Of the licensing deals that I was referencing earlier in Saudi Arabia, his family members own 20% of those deals. Donald Trump still owns 80%. There's one of the deals in which the family doesn't have any cut at all, and Donald Trump still owns 100%. Of course, he still has a lot to do with the family business.
Those are stunning numbers. Today, in fact, the Trump organization, or yesterday, sorry, Dan, said they're building a hotel in the Maldives, those beautiful islands in the Indian Ocean, with the help of a major Saudi Arabian real estate developer called Saudi Dar Global. How important is that to Trump?
Dar Global is essential for Trump. That's the real engine behind a lot of his growth in the Middle East and now extending into other parts of the world. One interesting part of this, too, is that they announced as part of that deal that they're planning to tokenize this real estate. If you look at how Donald Trump has made his money over the last few years, a lot of it isn't necessarily from creating super profitable companies or new companies. It's from finding new people who will buy his stuff, much of which loses money. So this happened with the Trump Media and Technology Group, the parent company to Truth Social. It happened with World Liberty Financial's tokens, and it happened with the meme coin. Many of those assets have gone down since Trump sold them, but nonetheless, he's gotten away with a ton of money from them. If he can figure out how to apply that same logic to real estate assets, basically creating a lot of buzz around it, getting his supporters, getting foreign investors excited about this stuff, it could mean that the valuations of his real estate businesses shoot up to the moon, and that could get Trump a ton of money.
Dan, thank you very much for your incredible reporting on this. Dan's done this for so many years. Well, that's why you can just come out and lay it all down like that. Thank you. Harry Enten is now out front. I mean, Harry, Dan couldn't have been more clear.
No, he couldn't
Saudi
have been.
Arabia is really important.
Yes.
Trump has everything to do with the business,
Yeah.
and Saudi Dar Global is crucial. So Trump's welcome of Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Mohammed bin Salman is going to rule Saudi Arabia for the rest of our lifetime, for sure. How do Americans feel about him? Do they feel as kindly towards him as Trump?
No, I would say absolutely not. Americans' feelings are as ice cold as Trump's feelings are quite hot. What are we talking about here? Well, take a look at Gallup polling over the last few decades. Negative net approval ratings. Gallup has been measuring this since the beginning of the century. Look at this. 24 consecutive years in a row, Saudi Arabia has had a negative net approval rating among Americans. That is even more than Russia at 13. Of course, Americans don't like Russia at all. And you, of course, pointed out how Trump feels about Saudi Arabia. And it turns out we went back through the record books and we looked at, okay, who are the first foreign leaders that Trump visited in their country during his first and his second term? Well, guess what? In both of those cases, he went to Saudi Arabia. That is where he went in both of those terms. Well, this is the net approval rating on Trump at this point, which we will get to in a second.
Ask you about that
You're going to get
in
that in a second.
But fascinating that the first meetings, both times,
There we go.
with Saudi Arabia, his father, and of course now the Crown Prince. I guess there's what I put asterisk, refer back to Dan Alexander.
Exactly.
Okay, and now to that other screen, I want to give you a chance to get to the detail. So Trump has been focusing on foreign policy, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene has been pounding the table on why are you doing that? I voted for America First as part of their whole giant fight over the Epstein files. Is this focus on foreign policy, his focus on that and on ending wars, is that helping him?
It actually is. This, I think, is the most interesting little nugget, which is Donald Trump has struggled so much on the economy. Remember, that was his strength during his first term. His net approval rating on that was always above his overall approval rating. This term, the economy is dragging him down. Foreign policy is actually picking Donald Trump up a little bit. Look at this. His net approval at this point is 16 points higher in term number 2 than it was in term number 1 when he was way below.
Still
1.
negative, but huge improvement.
Still negative, but a much better improvement for him versus the economy, which has been awful for him.
Right. Wow, and you can see that decline.
Yeah.
Harry, thank you very much.